force on an orbiting object depends on the mass of the central object and on the distance between the two objects. So the force of attraction between the sun and the earth, for example, depends on the mass of the sun and the distance between the earth and the sun. We can express this mathematically. We can say that we can say F is proportional to the mass of the central object. My writing is not very neat, but I think you understand this is an F. Is proportional to M over R. I'm going to try to write an R squared. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, that's not so bad actually. So the force between the two objects is proportional to the mass of the central object over the square of the distance between them. This is what we call an inverse square law. So force decreases in proportion to the square of the distance. We have to have that square in there. That's what makes this an inverse square law. So the more the mass is, so if you double the mass, you're going to double the force. If you double the mass, you're going to double the force. But if you double the distance between the two objects, then the force is going to decrease in proportion to the square of the distance. So if you double the distance between the two objects, then you are going to reduce the force to 1/4 of its previous value. Okay, if you triple the distance between them, you reduce the force to 1/9 of its previous value, and so on. The generic term for this, again, is an inverse square law. And inverse square laws are fairly common. We'll see them again. So keep that in mind. When we see an inverse square law, what it means is that the first value decreases in proportion to the square, and it's often, I think most inverse square laws probably involve distance in the denominator. So whatever this value is on the left decreases in proportion to the square of the distance between two objects. So think about, what would you need to construct an equation rather than a proportionality? How can you turn a statement of proportion into an equation? So I want an equal sign there instead of the proportionality sign. What would I have to add to make this into an equation?